What if I told you the idea of losing your virginity, at least the way we've been taught, is completely unscientific? That the so-called proof of virginity, the hymen, is one of the most misunderstood parts of the human body? Welcome to FitVid Daily, where today, we take a fearless dive into sexual health by exposing one of the most persistent myths in human culture. This video will break down the anatomy, explore the myth's harmful impact, and empower you with facts that every person deserves to know. Let's get into it. What is the hymen, really? Let's get anatomical. The hymen is a thin fold of mucous membrane partially covering the vaginal opening. Contrary to what many believe, it's not a seal that breaks the first time a woman has sex. Think of it more like a flexible ring, highly variable from person to person. Some people have thick hymens, others have thin ones, and some may not have noticeable hymenal tissue at all. For those who do, it may stretch or tear from non-sexual activities like horseback riding, gymnastics, bike riding, inserting tampons, even stretching or natural movement during puberty. And the kicker? The hymen can tear without bleeding. In fact, research shows that only about 43% of women experience bleeding during first-time intercourse. The rest? No blood. No pain. Nothing breaking. Also, hymens don't regrow. Once stretched, they typically remain that way, and it's completely normal. The origins of the virginity myth. So how did this flimsy tissue become the cornerstone of female virtue? The virginity myth dates back thousands of years. In many ancient societies, a woman was considered her father's property until she was given to her husband. Her purity, often symbolized by an intact hymen, was tied to family honor, inheritance rights, and social standing. In some cultures, the wedding night included a disturbing tradition, showing blood-stained sheets to prove the bride was a virgin. If there was no blood, her life could be in danger. But it's not just history. Today, in parts of the Middle East, Asia, and even some communities in the West, women face real-world consequences for not bleeding on their wedding night, even if they've never had sex. It's patriarchy disguised as biology. The control of women's bodies by men, reinforced by generations of misinformation. What science actually says. Let's put the myth under a microscope, literally. Gynecological experts agree, the hymen is not a reliable indicator of sexual activity. A 2016 study by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists found that physicians cannot determine whether a woman has had intercourse just by examining the hymen. Let that sink in. Even trained doctors can't see virginity. The World Health Organization, UN Women, and the United Nations Human Rights Office have all condemned virginity testing as a violation of human rights and dignity. It has no scientific basis. Sexual experience, consent, trauma, or choice, none of these leave a clear, visible mark. Everybody is different, and sexual health should never be about inspection or proof. Psychological and social impact. The myth doesn't just live in textbooks or outdated traditions, it lives in our minds. Girls and young women are often burdened with fear, shame, and anxiety about their bodies and their worth. Questions like, what if I don't bleed? Will my partner think I'm lying? Am I still pure? These are not healthy questions for a developing teenager, or anyone. Victims of sexual assault may feel especially ashamed or judged by cultural expectations. For many, not meeting the virgin standard causes deep emotional distress. And men aren't exempt. Virginity myths reinforce toxic masculinity, pressuring boys to conquer and measuring manhood by sexual experience. It also erases LGBTQ+ identities, as the virginity narrative is almost always heteronormative, focusing only on vaginal intercourse between a man and a woman. Bottom line, this myth causes real harm, emotionally, socially, and mentally. Hymenoplasty and virginity repair. Here's where things get even more complicated, the growing industry of hymenoplasty. This is a surgical procedure that claims to rebuild the hymen, often for women facing pressure to appear virginal before marriage. It's especially popular in areas with strict cultural expectations, but the practice is controversial. On one hand, women are using this procedure to protect themselves. In some places, not appearing to be a virgin can lead to violence or social exclusion. On the other hand, critics argue that hymenoplasty reinforces the very myths we should be dismantling. Instead of empowering women with knowledge, it validates false ideas about virginity and bodily worth. Doctors say it's a procedure based not on health, but on fear. Reclaiming the narrative. So what now? We must start teaching young people the truth. Virginity is not a medical condition. It's not a physical state. And it's definitely not a moral measurement. Instead of shame, let's teach consent. Instead of fear, let's teach communication. And instead of myths, let's spread facts. Reproductive health education should be based on science, not cultural baggage. Whether you choose to have sex or not is a personal decision. Your body doesn't owe anyone an explanation, a story, or proof. The sooner we let go of the virginity myth, the sooner we can raise healthier, more confident generations, who understand their bodies, honor their choices, and speak their truth. Thanks for watching FitVid Daily. If this video opened your eyes, please give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe for more no-fluff, research-based content on sex, science, and self-awareness. See you on the next video.